Welcome back to the Auto Insider, where you come to find out what's new, what's hot, and what's not in the automotive industry. This week we have the 2022 Infiniti QX60. This is a mid-size 3-row SUV. I'm really excited about this new QX60 because of all the changes that Infiniti has made. Of course, all the body, everything about this is completely brand new. But many times we see automakers make all these visual changes and these visual cues and aesthetic improvements, but they don't improve the drive. Well, Infiniti has gone to a 9-speed automatic transmission and they've ditched the CVT. This thing should be everything it should have been from the beginning. And as we expect, having been an Infiniti fan for years, I do own a 2007 Infiniti M45, one of my favorite vehicles of all time. I had high hopes for the QX60. One of the vehicles I would have bought for myself probably many years ago, aside from the fact that it had that CVT transmission. I think that's the best thing Infiniti has done for their brand in many years, is going back to a traditional automatic transmission. What I want to point out here for starters is the quality of the materials here on the seats, the leather coming across the dashboard, and the whole setup and layout here for this vehicle. We have a 12.3-inch color touchscreen display that you can have multiple screens up at one time. Here below we have AC controls, heated and ventilated seats controls here. You can sync both front seat passengers as well as sync the second and third row passengers AC. Adding to all of the luxury and the conveniences here and all my buttons and knobs here on the dashboard, we also have a dial here that allows us to also navigate through the infotainment system. It's right where your hand falls naturally when you're resting on the armrest here, and everything is labeled and really easy to get to, really easy to read. If you don't want to use this, again, you can use the touchscreen. The gear selector is a little bit different now. Rather than it being a mechanical, it's electronic as well, but really self-explanatory, easy to work, easy to use. We have a wireless charger here for our smartphones. There's also USB-C and a USB-A chargers here. You also have an additional USB-C charger here in the center, as well as a traditional cigarette lighter power adapter. We also have wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless Bluetooth, and again, like I said, the wireless charging. It was seamless to set up. I plugged up the phone first with this USB cable. Asked me if I wanted to activate Apple CarPlay on my smartphone. I chose yes, and it seamlessly hooked it up. I didn't have to go through any searching, so I really liked the way that worked. You can see here we have this huge panoramic roof that really, this car doesn't really need any other space because it's plenty spacious, but it still gives you an appearance of a much larger vehicle. And with all this space, you would think it would be really hard to drive and really cumbersome, but it's not. It actually is very well mannered. Could use a little more power from this V6 3.5, but it's all you really need. I spoke about this before, but now I want you to just see the stitching here in the dashboard. I've talked about other vehicles on reviews, and we talk about the imitation stitching along the dash. Infiniti said, no way, this isn't the QX80, this isn't our flagship, but this is one they really expect to sell a lot of vehicles. So they have not left any details untouched here on this dashboard. This is real stitching, feels like real leather, soft points all the way around, down the sides. The stitching goes through here, it comes along the seat, and it's not something that's an alternative or different color. It's the same color as the leather. Gives it a really luxurious feel. Going along the doors here, you have stitching that matches the seat, and then you have more soft point here on the dashboard. And then you have this open pore gray wood here that runs across the dash, down the doors. This really gives you a very luxurious feel without too much overkill. And if you look at it from the outside, it doesn't give you much of a luxury car. It gives you more of a family car. But once you get inside, the luxury is obvious and hard to miss. This is how you go through your drive modes. So we have personal, which you will go configure the way you want it, sport, auto, and eco. So when we go to the fuel economy, which I was trying to get to, we've averaged 18.5 miles per gallon. A few complaints about fuel efficiency. There is an on-off feature here that a lot of vehicles have these days. You could turn off the stop and start feature. It's right here, it's easy to get to, but every time you turn the car off and start it back, you have to choose this function again if you don't want the vehicle to cut off at lights. Now, this isn't an Infinity problem or issue. This is with everyone. In hot summer days here in Georgia, when you're in traffic, you come to a stop and the air conditioner goes off. When the engine is not running, the compressor is not able to cool the car and the air is not as cold coming out of vents when the engine is turned off. So it does get a little bit clammy and stuffy in the cabin when you're sitting still for more than a minute or so. So I always reach down here and turn that off whenever I can. Here's your heated steering wheel, heated seats, ventilated seats, auto climate control, dual climate controls, and there's a rear, so it has 3 climate controls in this vehicle. So also worth noting here, windshield wipers are rain sensing. You can control the speeds here. Also the back window. Here on the turn signal stalk, you have your controls for your headlights, auto, and the auto dimming feature. That's a great feature that dims on dark back roads. So it has all the features you'd expect. Paddle shifters really make sense now on the Infiniti QX60 because you have a 9-speed automatic transmission. So now, one of my favorite features on this QX60 in this price range, I didn't expect it. It was a pleasant surprise. Massaging seat. I can go to relaxing, lumbar, or refresh, and I can dial the intensity up and down, and I can dial the speed up and down. So here in the back seat, here's your controls for your climate control here for your second row passengers. There's also a 120 volt outlet here to plug up gaming devices, computers. You have your fast charger and your regular USB charger here. Then you have your cup holder and armrest here, seat back pockets on both seats. And for room, I can slide the seat forward and back for more or less space that I might need for this row or the third row. I drive with my seat back pretty far, probably further back than most people. Not to mention it has a feature where it slides back when you get out. So the seat is back a lot further than it would normally be. I'm an average size man, 5'10", almost 200 pounds. There's plenty of room here. I could certainly take a road trip in the second row of this vehicle. Another great feature for these long road trips is the sunshade. AC vents here at the top. My teenage daughter loves this because it allows her to get the air right on her as she would in the front. So many SUVs and vehicles have the AC vents down here. Your legs block it, things get in the way. You're on road trip, you're throwing things on the floor, it's in the way. Up here, it's a great location for this AC vent. And just when I thought this vehicle couldn't be more practical for a road trip, I discovered this. Not many vehicles have I been in have I been able to recline the second row this far. Now, of course, if there's someone in your third row, they're probably not going to be big fans of you. It'll be like being on a plane. But if you're just using these 2 rows, this is great. I talked about how great this vehicle is for family and road trips and the extra rows. Let's see how easy it is to get in this third row. There's a button here on the side. You push it. And while this isn't some great third row, there is pretty decent. It seems like I'm sitting straight up back here. Well, I am, but you can recline this third row as well. I feel like I have a lot more room, a lot more space. Still not a vehicle that I would have an adult try to take some long, arduous road trip back here. However, I could do a night on the town with a couple of couples and I wouldn't mind being in the third row. You do have USB chargers here on both sides of this third row, so the third row passengers don't have to miss out on keeping their phones charged at all. If you have a large family and you got little ones, you know how important that is. That's 2, 4, 6, that's 7 chargers in this 7 passenger. Now, it was pretty easy getting in this third row. How easy is it to get out? There's another button here. Not bad. one kick and it works great. As you can see, when this third row is up for passengers here in the third row, there's not going to be a lot of cargo space here. There's a little bit of underfloor storage, easy for me to say here, but it's not going to be enough to take any type of a family road trip. You would have to utilize those luggage racks on the top and get some accessories for your extra luggage. But if you have only 2 kids or 1 like me, easy to fold this row down. And have access to all of your cargo. That's all the time we have today on the Auto Insider, but for more of what's new, what's hot, and what's not, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, then download the SoundCloud app and listen to all of our reviews in their entirety. 2022 Infiniti QX60. 7 passenger, 3 row, 7 chargers, sergeant seats, advanced cruise control, Pro Pilot Assist, 12.3-inch touchscreen, panoramic roof. If this isn't hot, I don't know what is. But if you find the $60,000 price tag for the Century Edition a little bit out of reach, maybe you'll consider the Luxe Edition. You get most of the goodies. Only thing you give up is the Bose Premium Stereo, which is an option. And you don't get the massaging seat for your front seat passengers. You also give up the advanced climate control, but you do still have a climate control option here for your second row passengers. And you'll also give up the motion rear hatch. But aside from that, you have the same 3.5 liter V6 made it to the 9-speed transmission, and it goes out at about $56,625. Till next week, I'm Daryl Killian for the Auto Insider.